Formula One in 2020 is finally over, from us not thinking we were going to be getting a season to actually getting us a full 17 raced calendar. We've got 17 races in 23 weeks. A superb effort from Formula One, from the FIA, and of course every single person working with the teams in the media, even us YouTubers, because it wasn't easy for us neither, even though we were sitting back watching the race kind of, in our own comforts almost. We thought today we would be doing what everyone else will be doing as well, reacting to our 2020 predictions that we made all the way back at the start of the year. I think when we made these, Lyle, this was before the whole lockdown even began, because we made these before a car had even set foot on the track. In fact, I think we made these before we even knew what the cars looked like. It was that early. Are you excited, digesting the predictions that we made back in February, I think it was?
Yeah, February 1st, I believe it was, checking it out earlier.
Wow.
We were heading into winter testing, and then we were heading into Melbourne, and wow, just how everything went. I mean, to be honest, it didn't really affect the predictions as much. It was just the fact that we you can just see when if you watch our previous videos, of which we will leave a link down below in the description, even just watching that, you can just tell in our mannerisms how we're talking. We are talking about, Australia in next month. And obviously, Jordan, exactly. That's so wrong, wasn't it?
It was wrong. So there we go. We've got a prediction wrong already. We think we're going to Australia. No, we're actually going to Austria in actual fact. But of course, we're going to sit down now and look at our predictions that we made all the way back in February, like we said before. So let's jump into it and look at our first 5 that we made. And here we are. Lyle, yours was Latifi, Magnussen, Russell, Grosjean, and Raikkonen was your first 5. In 20th to 16th respectively. Mine was Latifi, Russell, Grosjean, Stroll, and Daniel Kvyat. I'll go with mine first. The big one that I got wrong there is Lance Stroll. I think yours was a bit higher than mine, not massively higher than ours, but we had Stroll have a bad season almost. Well, I hadn't have a really bad season to finish just ahead of the Hasses. And in fact, one of the Hasses, by the look of my predictions, one of the Hasses finished ahead of Lance Stroll. It was absolutely madness. So the actual predictions, the actual standards was, Latifi finished 21st because we had obviously coronavirus. Drivers had to come and go, of course, and of course Romain Grosjean's unfortunate crash. 20th was Kevin Magnussen. 19th was Romain Grosjean. 18th was George Russell. 17th was Antonio Giovinazzi, and 16th was Kimi Raikkonen. Lyle, you've got 2 right. How impressive is that? Well done. Well, I say 2. We actually got 3 right, because we are classing Latifi as last place. He did get last place in the standings, but it was 21st. But quite frankly, we could never have predicted that back in February. So we're going to give that to us. So Lyle, not a bad start. 3 out of 5 of your predictions are right. Tell us how you feel about that. That must feel some sort of pride. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so obviously Kimi Raikkonen finished in P16 and George Russell finished in P18. Obviously Kimi Raikkonen, there's not really much to say about him. Some good performances throughout the year, but again, just kind of there just to help out Alfa Romeo. It is a little bit weird that he is obviously re-signed for next year, looking at the talent that's coming through Formula 2 at the moment. But him and Antonio Giovinazzi, his team, it was signed respectively. 18th place, George Russell. He had that race at the Sakhir Grand Prix with Mercedes where he scored a few points, finishing inside the top 10. It could have been a lot more, of course. And then, of course, nothing at Williams. So again, the 18th place definitely helping him out. But it is kind of upsetting to see, that he couldn't make the race at Sakhir work. But yeah, no, 2 I'm pretty happy with having 2 right out of that. And obviously with Antonio Giovinazzi, with Nicholas Latifi finishing at the back, we always knew that was going to happen, unfortunately. Not saying that Latifi was a bad driver. We just almost knew that, because obviously he's a new driver and he wouldn't be as good as George Russell. We're seeing this in a way because we got Latifi right, saying that he was at the back of the grid, but we are classing Nico Hülkenberg as finishing where he did in P15. So we're going to be leaving Nico Hülkenberg in. We aren't going to be taking him out because obviously he was classified as finishing. 2 brilliant races from him, both at the Silverstone event, obviously the British and 70-year anniversary Grand Prix. Brilliant from him. And P15 was great for him. But no, for the actual finishes, Jordan, I'm very happy with what I managed to get.
With me, I was very similar in the terms of where they actually finished. With Latifi, we got it right almost, but he finished 21st, but we'll have that. Russell finished at a position above where I predicted him. I thought Williams would again have a very slow season, as they did, but none of us would have predicted Russell to be in a Mercedes in 2020, which just proves how crazy of a year it's actually been. Grosjean, I was one position wrong with him. And Stroll, 6 wrong, Lyle. He finished 6 places ahead of where I had him down at, unfortunately. Let's take a look at the next lot of predictions from 15th to 11th. And there we go. Right, so I had Magnussen, Raikkonen, Gasly, Giovinazzi and Ocon. And Lyle had Gasly, Kvyat, Perez, Giovinazzi and Stroll, respectively. Lyle, let's discuss yours. Again, like I said there before about Lance Stroll, I had him 17th. You had him 15th. Again, we all thought we were going to have a very slow Lance Stroll this season. Lance Stroll has certainly proved us all wrong in that kind of aspect. So well done on that front. And as well, you had, I've just noticed there, Sergio Perez in 13th, Lyle.
Yeah. Well, we thought
places,
that's the point. I mean,
9 places higher. Wow.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying Lance was terrible. You know, he would finish around where his teammate was. We thought that the racing points were going to be slow this year, and we had no idea. And again, we made these in February, as John said there. So if we made these after pre-season, we probably would have moved racing point up because obviously of that W10 racing point kind of thing. But yeah, we didn't know about these. So obviously, we had Sergio and Lance very low down. But I think the only kind of shock for me out of that is the Sergio Perez. I could see, everyone else being in that kind of position. I wouldn't change anything, really. I mean, again, Giovinazzi, I was going out on a limb, obviously hoping that he would have a better result than Kimi Räikkönen. But yeah, I think for me, the only one out of that... I mean, yeah, obviously Lance Stroll as well. But for me, the only one I would now regret is Sergio Perez. But it's not too bad, I guess, for me.
Yeah, we didn't think... Race Point had a very average 2019, and we thought we would have a better 2020, but with how competitive it was, we had, McLaren was going to do well. We had a feeling Renault was going to have an okay season. We didn't know how good of a season Racing Point would actually have. A couple of podiums and a pole position this season, and a race win rather as well for Sergio Perez. So, and if you'd have told us that at the beginning of the year, we would have been like, but really? But when they unveiled their car in testing and it was the exact replica of last year's Mercedes, then certainly we would have had Stroll and Perez a lot higher. Like Lyle said there before about Nico Hülkenberg, he finished in P15 in the actual standings. And I had Kevin Magnussen, Lyle had Lance Stroll. We both had Alfa Romeo drivers in 14th. Mine was Raikkonen, his was Giovinazzi. Raikkonen finished 2 places lower than I predicted him. Giovinazzi finished at 3 places lower than where Lyle predicted him. P13, Pierre Gasly finished 3 places higher than what I predicted him. In 13th, he finished in P10. And Gasly has had a superb season as well. And again, if you told me at the beginning of the year, Gasly would have a race win in an AlphaTauri, what? Crazy. Yeah. It's been a mad year. Probably my worst one out of the bunch is the Giovinazzi one, because he finished 5 places lower than where I predicted him. I had him in P12 and he finished in P17. And Esteban Ocon, of course, coming in after a year out in F1, how was he going to do in a Renault? How was Renault going to be doing? They had a really bad 2019. 2020 was it going to be their year? And to be fair, I was nearly right with Ocon. I was 1 position out. He finished in P12. I had him in P11. So I'm happy with that one. I'm definitely happy with the predictions I've got there. But with Giovinazzi's, not quite. To say the least. So let's move on to then our top 10. Now this is where it gets really interesting. And I mean really interesting, because we do make a bit of a blunder. A bit of a blunder with one particular team, but we'll get onto them in a little bit. So I had in P10 Norris, P9 Sergio Perez, P8 Daniel Ricciardo, P7 Carlos Sainz, and P6 Alexander Albon. Lal had P10 Daniel Ricciardo, P9 Lando Norris, P8 Carlos Sainz, P7 Esteban Ocon, and P6 Sebastian Vettel. Lyle, you got another one right.
That's right, yeah, Lando Norris.
He's good at these predictions, ladies and gentlemen. He's really good at these predictions.
I think with Lando, it was like, I knew that with Lando, with saying the Lando word, I'm like, this year, I don't know what to say anymore.
A bit crazy.
I know, guys, you should know what we're on about. If you don't already, then you should. He's literally made this channel his own. Honestly, he's a Lando debater now. So Lando Norris, again, strong season from them. McLaren, very, very strong. I would say in terms of the actual finish that he's had, has been very, very good. Obviously, Ferrari, terrible. But that being said, though, right, Sebastian Vettel in P6 is for me, is actually not too bad. Now, hear me out, because obviously I know that he finished in a terrible P13, a terrible, abysmal, pathetic. Oh my God, he used to drive for Red Bull Racing, guys. What was going? 4-time world champion. What was going on? But when I made that prediction for him to finish in P6, right, I was thinking that Sebastian was going to have a terrible season. I'm sure I said that in the original video. That I said Sebastian, because again, I probably was saying that. I was like, Jordan, hear me out. Sebastian Vettel P6, and he was like, no way, Sebastian's going to be top 3. What are you talking about? Because I knew that Sebastian wasn't going to have a good season with Ferrari. For P6, I would have said that would have been a terrible season for Sebastian. But he finishes 7 places lower. Wow. I mean, honestly, what's going on? What is going on?
Well,
I mean, and you predicted Antonio Giovinazzi. Theoretically, if this worked, you predict if Antonio Giovinazzi finished in P12 and you got that right, he would have finished higher than Vettel. Honestly, I'd got no idea what was going on. But apart from that, Jordan, I'm very happy with that. And obviously Lando Norris in P9. I'm very happy with that. I mean, what do you think about your predictions?
Yeah, my predictions again are very close with Lando Norris. Again, he finished in P9. I got him in P10. Sergio Perez is probably, again, we didn't know about the tracing point, the whole saga thing. Still, though, I thought top 10 for Sergio Perez was a definite, but he got P4, which is an incredible season. And as at time of recording, he hasn't got a seat. There is talk he could be going to Red Bull, which I hope he does get that seat. But I mean, for the season Perez has had, he should be in Formula 1 110%. With P8, I had Daniel Ricciardo. He finished in P5, so I had Perez and Ricciardo have a similar kind of season, just not as good as what I thought it was going to be. Ricciardo having 2 podiums with Renault, Cyril Beeple having a couple of tattoos to his name, which was pretty decent. Good season from them. And the two, I got my next two the wrong way round. I had P6 Albon, P7 Carlos Sainz, and actually finished P6 Carlos Sainz and P7 Alexander Albon. I think the top 6 for mine and Lyle's is very similar in terms of the teams anyways, but with Albon P6, I would have thought that would have been an okay season. But quite frankly, he's had a bit of an average season in P7 in a Red Bull. Not really that impressive, but then again, is he driving the car that suits his style? That's for another debate. Let's go on to then the final 5. Who did we have as our world champion? Who do we have in our top 5? Here they are. There we go. Not too bad. Both of us had Lewis Hamilton as world champion. Now, for 2017 and 2018, for 2018 and 2019, I went bold on my world champion. I think for 2018, I went Valtteri Bottas. Now,
did you? I thought you Valtteri Bottas.
I did. I'm sure I said Bottas for 18. Or was it 18? Or was it 17?
I've got a feeling you said Valtteri Bottas for 17, his first season at Mercedes. I have a feeling 17, you said 17.
Yes, because I remember thinking, he's lost the title. That's the end of Hamilton. How wrong was I?
You've got two as many as of all your predictions. You got 2 things wrong, John. You got when the season started and the end of Hamilton did not work. But yeah, I'm sure it was Bottas 17.
That was atrocious. But speaking of Valtteri Bottas, I had him in P5.
Wow.
Now in 2019, all right, yes, he didn't do that well. He did okay, but I thought Red Bull are going to be on the charge, and Ferrari had a really good, an okay 2019, but in comparison to this season, Ferrari had a championship winning year in 2019. They had a brilliant year. When in theory they actually didn't, but compared to this year, it's been much better. Vettel was P4. Again, my worst prediction. I made out of the entirety of my prediction. 9 places wrong. Again, so again, I thought Ferrari would have a good year, not a championship winning year, but I had Charles Leclerc to finish ahead of Vettel, which I was right in that sense. And actually, I wasn't too far away with Charles Leclerc. Finished in P8. I had him in P3. So. Yeah, it wasn't that good, was it? Max Verstappen, I had in P2. Now, I was very close with that one. That's probably in terms of, apart from the ones I got right, was probably the one I was very close with, because I think to say about last predictions, he had Verstappen a lot lower than what I had him at. Now, I was thinking Verstappen is going to challenge Lewis for that title. I was thinking of a closer championship fight between Hamilton and Verstappen. But in fact, Verstappen did exceeded expectations in that Red Bull. So I'm relatively happy with that one. If it wasn't for the couple of reliability issues that he had, Verstappen could have easily had P2 from Valtteri Bottas. It was close, but no cigar. Lyle, your predictions. You had Albon in P5. Still, I can see where you come from that. Verstappen P4. Bottas in P3, Charles Leclerc in P2. You thought Ferrari, like me, was going to have a decent one driver anyway. Charles Leclerc was going to have a challenge. He was going to challenge Lewis Hamilton for that championship. Right, yeah. Lyle, explain yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the first explanation I need to make was Max Verstappen in P4. Now, I mean, firstly, it's not terrible. Obviously, it's only one position lower.
You want to win, want to win.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like saying P3 for Max would have been great. P4 is like, it's kind of a bit of an insult to Max. And hear me out. And again, Jordan putting in P2, which is great. And I remember when I made the predictions, I was just about to put Max in P2, but, and again, call me, like, I don't know what you could call me, whatever. But there was a lot of people going on about kind of Max had re-signed with Red Bull. We'd obviously Pierre Gasly, the trading place had died down, would put Albon in the car, which again people were very happy about. Some people were holding on to Gasly, some people were holding on to Albon, but it was finally kind of sorted. That's what we all thought. And they all hold on to the fact that Lewis Hamilton would be easily dethroned, and Max Verstappen, being the amazing Dutch guy that he was going to win the World Championship. And I was thinking, well, not really. I feel like there is better drivers on the grid than him. Look at Charles Leclerc. And I feel like, okay, I tell you what, let's chain this up a little bit. I don't want to put Bottas in P2. I don't want it to be a Mercedes 1-2 because I don't feel like it's going to be. I feel like Lewis is going to win the World Championship. And Charles, if he's given the car, will beat Max. And that's always going to be an ongoing debate. And I know that, guys, it's blasphemy because I know that I'm a Red Bull fan and it's terrible that I'm saying that. But on result, it has been Max. He's great in that car. And Charles could win the World Championship in a Red Bull, of course, there's no doubt. And Max and Charles would have a great head-to-head fight. But it's not going to happen for many, many years because of the lack of performance that Ferrari have. And Max in that car can win the World Championship for sure. So when we're making our 21 predictions, hold on to your hats, folks, because this might come back, and this I might do this again. But this year I was thinking Charles Leclerc is better than Max Verstappen. Okay, I'm holding my hands up, and I think that heading into 2020, Max Verstappen was flawed to Charles Leclerc. Charles was a much better driver, and he was going to have Sebastian Vettel by the gonads, and he was going to go out and show us all wrong. I had a lot of faith in Charles, and. Again, he did very, very well on a car that was just terrible. Obviously, Lewis winning the World Championship was inevitable for sure. Valtteri Bottas in P3, obviously finishes P2. Again, I thought, heading into this, was Valtteri the best driver, to partner Lewis? Yes, but I feel like Charles in a Ferrari should beat at least one Mercedes driver. I feel like he definitely should. And there was a bigger gap between Lewis and Valtteri this year. Obviously, Max at P4, we've already discussed that. Alexander Albon in P5. It was disappointing for Alex to finish how low that he did. And obviously be beaten by a McLaren as well. But again, I don't feel as much to say about that. And obviously, here's the big one that I've literally just rehashed from... Oh no, well, Sebastian Vettel was earlier on, but I'm still going to go back to it. What have I done? Sebastian Vettel in P6. But to you on this, Jordan, out of all this, I mean, obviously we get Lewis Hamilton right, of course, for sure. You've got first and last right. Well done. That's incredible. I feel like the biggest shock, though, is Max and Charles. Just going to you quickly, Jordan, just one question about the Max and Charles thing. Obviously, I had position 2 and position 4. You had position 2 and position 3. Did you think that Charles and Max were going to have more of a head-to-head battle and what we all expected? The young guy at Ferrari, the young guy at Red Bull, going head-to-head, obviously like it was, back in the Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso days. Did you expect that, having a P2 and P3? Is that what you thought this season was going to be like?
Yeah, I did. I did think Charles Leclerc and Verstappen would go more head-to-head during the course of the season. Was that me trying to be... dreaming, oh, I want this to happen? It probably could have been because, we had some really good battles between those two in 2019. I was hoping we would get a repeat of that because Ferrari had, of course, that engine power advantage. The car wasn't really that good, the chassis-wise, but I was thinking Ferrari should get their act together. But to be fair, the warning sign should have been there at the end of the season when the pace did fall away from them. So I should have really been concentrating on that part, but never mind. But no, I was expecting a definitely a good battle between those two. And maybe with our 2021 predictions, we might, just might, see that in action. Just don't take it from me, take it from Lyle, because I'm useless with predictions. Lyle,
You are
of
useless.
course, clearly is the better predictor, even before cars even hit the track. But look back at my predictions there, Lyle. I would say you said that your worst one is Verstappen in P4. Mine is the fact that I put 2 Ferraris ahead of a Mercedes. I've got Charles Leclerc and Vettel ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Now, at the time, it was a bit like, it doesn't sound silly, but now on hindsight, looking back how quick Mercedes were and how slow Ferrari were, I'm like, that's atrocious.
Yeah.
That is bad.
Hopefully we'll learn for next year.
Yes, I think we said that every single year. Well, I have anyway, and I haven't learned my lesson. So at least I'm not predicting, Charles Leclerc's world champion and Carlos Sainz in P2. But that could all change next season. But of course, we will wrap our prediction video up as always, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been fun looking back at our predictions that we made at the beginning of the year, and of course, we will be doing this again for 2021, where we've got the likes of some other drivers coming in. Mick Schumacher, everyone's favorite driver now, Nikita Mazepin, Yuki Tsunoda as well. So can't wait to see them in action. Fernando Alonso coming back. How do we think he'll do next season? Vettel in an Aston Martin, Carlos Sainz in a Ferrari, Daniel Ricciardo in a McLaren. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to do next season's predictions videos, which of course will come out about the same time as we release these ones. Drop a like on the video if you're new around here as well, and of course subscribe as well. Thank you so much for everyone that did subscribe, because we hit over 3,000 subscribers before the end of the season, and that was our goal. Yeah. For the vast majority of the second half of the season, really. Well, there or thereabouts anyways, the second half of the year anyway. So thank you so much for everyone for, of course, us achieving that. Nearly the end of the season, we are nearly there in terms of content. So guys, can't wait to see what we've got in offer for you for next season anyways. Watch what you're doing, guys. Stay safe as always, and until next time, we'll see you later.
See you later, guys.